Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we are mapping out a truly captivating chapter of epic literature. We're going to be looking at the legendary exile and, honestly, the profound resilience of King Yudhishthira. It's a fascinating story, so let's just trace this monumental journey step by step. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to listen to this incredibly striking, visceral quote right from the text. The sons of Pandu lay down on the ground, their bodies besmeared all over with dirt. And right alongside them is the daughter of Drupada, who is just in this deeply sad state. It paints such an immediate picture, right? And it poses this massive hook for us. How does a mighty ruler of the world end up utterly destitute, literally lying in the dirt? What drives a royal figure to strip away all the comforts of his life and just subject himself to such severe vulnerability? Well, that mystery is exactly what we're going to unravel today.
So to really understand his condition, we first have to track his geographical momentum. Yudhishthira isn't just out there wandering aimlessly. He is on a highly structured pilgrimage. Accompanied by his younger brothers, he's traveling from sacred spot to sacred spot right along the sea. He heads to the Godavari River, a river that flows directly into the sea, where the text actually notes that he is freed from his sins. He's bathing at places sacred to the sacerdotal caste, distributing riches to the twice-born classes, and from there, he pushes into Dravida land, reaching this exceedingly pure and sacred spot named after the sage Agastya. With every single mile, he is building this massive spiritual momentum.
As the valiant king visits these various feminine sacred spots, alongside Krishna, something truly fascinating happens. There's this huge psychological boost embedded in this specific leg of the pilgrimage. You see, Yudhishthira gets to listen to stories of his brother Arjuna, performing these absolutely superhuman feats with the bow, acts that are said to be totally beyond the power of ordinary human beings. And hearing his brother's valor praised by the saintly class brings Yudhishthira just the greatest delight. It is this surprising, beautiful moment of immense joy right in the middle of a really grueling exile. And this brings us to a pretty staggering number, thousands. Because despite his exiled status, Yudhishthira's immense generosity absolutely does not waver. Fulfilling his heart's desire, he gives away thousands of cows at these coastal holy spots, along with large quantities of gems. Just think about the stark contrast here for a second. You have a king enduring the extreme hardships of a nomadic ascetic life, yet he's still operating with the boundless generosity of a sovereign. It tells us so much about his character, you know? He is prioritizing spiritual wealth and duty way above material hoarding. Having fulfilled his desires on the coast, the group crosses the coastal tract and reaches a celebrated forest. Now this isn't just any ordinary woods. It's a place steeped in ancient power, where deities and virtuous rulers of men had previously practiced asceticism. Here, possessed of his long and lusty arms, the king takes time to behold the celebrated altar of Rishika's son, a legendary bow-wielder, and this altar is completely girt round by hosts of ascetics. It's an intense place, fit only to be worshipped by persons of a truly virtuous life, which perfectly sets the stage for Yudhishthira's own upcoming trials.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer, overwhelming scale of his piety. The king plunges his body into the holy spots of the Vasus, the wind, and the celestial physicians. He honors Yama, Indra, Vishnu, and Shiva. He visits the shrines of the moon, the author of day, the Sadyas, his forefathers, Brahma, Rudra, and the goddess of learning. The momentum just builds and builds. This comprehensive veneration of the immortals shows a man systematically aligning himself with the absolute highest cosmic orders.
After visiting all these shrines, we trace his steps past his return to Suparka, until he and his uterine brothers arrive at the famous holy spot of Prabhasa. Here, the text gives us a very specific, almost startling physical description of the king. He is possessed of a pair of large red eyes. Now, in ancient texts, this kind of detail is often used as a symbol to signify intense spiritual heat or power. He washes himself alongside Krishan, his brothers, and the Brahmanas, together with Lomasa offering libations to the forefathers. He's very clearly preparing himself for something extreme.
Let's move to and see how this builds directly into the core of his trial, asceticism. The text describes the virtuous Yudhishthira engaging in a most austere form of penance. And this isn't just quiet meditation, folks. It is severe physical deprivation. He performs ablutions for days and nights and literally surrounds himself with fires kindled on all sides. He is quite literally putting himself through a crucible, pushing the absolute limits of human endurance to purify himself and generate spiritual merit.
Which brings us to the number 12, because for 12 full days the king subsisted on absolutely nothing but air and water. Just let that sink in for a moment. 12 days.
This highlights the staggering reality of his austere penance. This greatest of all virtuous men is completely stripping away the physical needs of the body to elevate the spirit. It is an unfathomable test of willpower, and naturally it begins to attract attention far beyond the confines of his immediate camp. You see, you can't engage in that level of extreme asceticism without the world taking notice. Information actually reaches Balarama and Krishna. Prompted by the news of what Yudhishthira of Ajamita's race is putting himself through, these two powerful leaders of the entire Vrishni tribe mobilize their troops. They travel specifically to seek out the king. So now the political and familial network is rapidly converging on this isolated spot of extreme spiritual practice.
So the crucial point is the profound contrast when the two groups finally meet. On one side, we have the majestic Vrishnis. They are so overcome by seeing the Pandavas exceedingly lean and dirt-covered that tears spontaneously gush from their eyes, and their grief just breaks out into loud lamentations. But on the other side is Yudhishthira. The text specifically notes that his internal stoicism, his courage, was such that misfortune could never cast him down. While his allies weep at his external state, his inner resolve remains absolutely unbreakable.
Despite all the sorrow of the Vrishnis, the actual meeting is incredibly beautiful. Yudhishthira cordially greets Rama, Krishna, Samba, and the grandson of Sini, paying mutual honor in a highly suitable form. And the imagery used in the source text here is just brilliant and reverent. It describes them seating themselves around Yudhishthira just as celestial hosts seat themselves around Indra. Even though he is lean, dirty, and fasting, his spiritual authority is so immense that he is naturally treated as a king of the gods holding court. And in this celestial-like gathering, the king, with a genuinely gladdened heart, recounts the entirety of their tale to them. He walks them through the timeline of their hardships, the initial machinations of their adversaries that led to their exile, the harsh realities of their time residing in the forest, and importantly, how Arjuna had gone to Indra's abode to seek the science of arms. For his allies listening, it's a deeply complex moment. They are incredibly happy to learn this news directly from him, yet they still feel this sharp agony for his physical condition.
This whole journey, from the Godavari to the extreme fires of Prabhasa, isn't just an ancient itinerary, right? It's a profound study of the human spirit. And it leads us perfectly to a core question. How do you maintain your inner courage and agency when external circumstances strip you down to nothing? Yudhishthira lost his kingdom, his comforts, and was reduced to a lean figure in the dirt, subsisting on air and water. Yet his courage was unbreakable, and he commanded the respect of a deity. As you go about your day, I want you to really think about that. When tragedy or misfortune hits, do you let it cast you down, or do you kindle your own fires, maintain your mental fortitude, and act as the author of your own resilience? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating source text with me here on The Explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.